Everyone I know. Welcome to Everyone I Know, the podcast where we argue about the mundane. We're here in Troy, on the Troy River, in the Troy Castle.
There's no Troy River.
There's no Troy River. It's the Mohawk. It's the Hudson.
No. It's the Hudson, dude.
It's the Hudson, the most polluted river in the world, I'm pretty sure. I'm here with my lovely producer, Brendan.
Hello.
And my brother, Chris.
What's going on, guys?
We also have the distinct pleasure to have a very illustrious guest this week. This week we have a stand-up comedian. You may know him from Conan, Jimmy Kimmel, Showtime, Comedy Central Presents. He also has a couple stand-up specials on albums. You know, I know him personally. I got first heard about him through podcasts, such as You Made It Weird, WTF with Mark Maron, Duncan Trussell Family Hour, Joe Rogan Experience, Never Not Funny, The Burt Cast, T-Fop, Crab Feast, and Keith and the Girl. We have Shane Mauss. What's up, Shane?
Hi, how's it going?
Shane, where in the world are you right now?
I just got in yesterday to my parents' house. I'm actually sitting in my childhood bed right now. I'm in mommy and daddy's basement.
Nice. Got some Doritos down there?
No Doritos. Come on, Mom.
Get some Totino's pizza rolls.
Come on. My tour kicks off in Wisconsin, so I swung in to say hi to the folks and borrow their car for a couple weeks.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, illustrious life of a comedian.
We saw you when you first came to Schenectady for the Good Trip tour.
Okay, cool.
Yep. You recorded an episode of Here We Are with one of the professors from SUNY Albany.
I've never...
Oh,
what's that?
We lost you there for a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Chris, I was telling him about the time that we went to the show. He was there too.
Yeah, I was there. I remember getting to the venue. I remember sitting down. I remember drinking a lot. Leaving is a little bit more hazy. That the alcohol was very cheap that night.
Like $3 whiskey shots or something.
Yeah, it was very, very cheap. I remember you being very funny though.
Thanks. Yeah, that was an odd venue because it's like it was like definitely walking in. It was the most impressive.
Oh yeah, the Proctor's Theater.
And then I went to the basement.
They escorted you downstairs.
Yeah, for this kind of poorly put together comedy show. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. So you're getting ready to go back on the road, right? You've got your first show on Thursday, October 11th in Madison. And then after that, Minneapolis on the 17th, Chicago on the 18th, Lansing, Michigan on the 19th, Kalamazoo on the 20th, and Milwaukee on the 21st. And then,
so I have a new tour. The Lansing and Kalamazoo are still the Good Trip. I'm still doing that show sometimes, but I have a new tour that's called Stand Up Science, which is kind of an offshoot of my science podcast, Here We Are, where I have academics, often past guests, and local academics and comics on the same show. So it's me hosting it and then introducing a professor to talk about video games' effect on perception or whatever the topic might be. Kind of like a TED Talk, but meant to be hopefully less motivational speaker and less like Toastmasters and a little more genuine.
Yeah.
That's what I'm encouraging my guests to do anyway. I don't know how it's going to go actually. And then a comedian, which it's just meant to be a little more of their more thought-provoking material, I guess. And then another scientist, and then all of us on stage together doing a Q&A at the end. So it should be something different. So it's Madison, Minneapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Portland, Seattle, and Tacoma, Washington for that show.
That's awesome, man. I really think that in order to avoid the TED Talkness, you have to ban the word synergy. Under no circumstances is anyone allowed to use the word synergy.
Yeah, but I think that might ruin some of the synergy of the show, though.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's playing with fire, and synergy is just so important.
Everything's moving at the speed of information.
Chris likes to get drunk and then do TED Talks.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I actually have my Portland show is gonna really be awesome. I mean, I think all these are. I have no idea if I'm going to be able to get like how much interest there will be or how many people will actually come out. I'm optimistic that the shows will be full, but I know the shows will be fun. And I have Portland. I have one of the comics actually is this guy in town who does like fake TED Talk thing.
Hell yeah.
So he's going to be in between the people doing talks about their work. So I think that's going to be awesome.
Nice.
Okay, so I have a friend named Shane, and I secretly behind his
Cool
back.
story, bro.
Yeah, cool.
Speaking
Speaking of Shane's, behind his back, I have like a theme song for him. So if you really are feeling in this, you can just pick this up and go with it. It's
sure.
Chain of Fools, but instead it's just Shane.
Oh yeah, no, I've gotten that before.
You've gotten that one? Okay.
Yeah, there's also in Shane and the Membrane.
Shane.
Easy one. Yeah.
What about David Bowie's Fame? You can just have Shane.
Oh, that's a new one.
That'll be your walk-on music.
Well, we need the theme songs because it's hard. Like I don't want to sugarcoat this at all. I have to like the in the war of the Shanes versus the Shawns. I mean, are definitely outnumbered, and so we definitely need like as much as we can get going with the PR department and everything. And so, like literally, if you got any listeners have any like songs or artwork, throw Shane.
Yep.
It just really help us out because Shawns are. They're not good people.
It's the truly forgotten war.
Yep.
Yeah.
Shane's up, Sean's down. All right. I think on that,
you guys are like, should we Skype? Should we have video? And then you literally just like the cameras that pointed toward the ceiling.
Oh, is it?
Looking at your ceiling for the last several minutes.
Is it better now? Can you see us?
It's better.
Okay.
It's better. Yeah.
I can't really see myself in the tiny box in the corner.
Tiny.
Yeah, no, you're good. You're good.
Hey, at least you know you're talking to humans and not robots.
I don't know. All right. Yeah, it's true.
It's the most complicated Turing test
We
ever
have to prick our
attempted.
finger to prove that we're
Yeah.
humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, they see if the podcast hosts are actually humans or not.
All right. On that note, we're going to be moving on to topic number 1.
That was a robot.
Fuck, you got me. You got me. All right. So, topic number 1, we had a topic a long time ago that was, bless you.
I thought you were being attacked.
That's what my sneeze sounds like. Sometimes when I get, like, this is just what happens in my life. It's like, I was hoping it wouldn't happen this time, but I have this, like, allergic response to topics. It's like I get so excited about it, and then and then I get worked up, and I don't know, and there's something in my system. It's like, topic going to be a threat, and then I just...
Your body just is reacting to new stimuli. That's all.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
We had a topic a while ago that was most smoochable serial killer, and I really want to
Smoochable?
most smoochable. Yep.
I want to kiss him on the lips.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right.
It was when my girlfriend came on the podcast, and I know that you had I obviously know that you like psychedelic drugs, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Psychonauts, the famous thought leaders in a lot of the important things like decaramelization and stuff like that. But I want to know which one is most smoochable. And so I've got a selection.
Wow. Okay. All right.
you
Which
had
thought leader? So this is which psychedelic thought leader I would most like to kiss.
Maybe even settle down with and have a life with them. I think that's important because
Okay.
looks can really deceive you when it comes to psychonauts. A lot of them have long beards.
Yeah, sure.
So the first one I have is Terrence McKenna, who I've affectionately named DMT Daddy Sasquatch.
Yep.
who's that?
Terrence McKenna. So he was a botanist, right? Which means you might have a lovely garden with him. You know, you might be settling down one day in your backyard on a rope swing, perhaps, and he might be pulling up, psilocybin mushrooms out of the ground. So you might have a beautiful garden tended to you by your lovely furry man, Terrence McKenna.
So I just actually saw Dennis McKenna, his brother, like 3 nights ago.
Okay.
He came to a screening of my film Psychonautics that he is also in, and there's something. They're not like a real cuddly type. I feel like there's a real intensity in them as brother. Like I attach a little more toward the chiller aspect of the movement. Okay, so I'm already leaning against smooching a McKenna brother, but I haven't heard the rest of my choices yet.
All right, so the other ones that I've got Timothy Leary, okay, who I've affectionately named the bad boy of biopharmacology because of all his arrests.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely like a he was definitely in the free love side of things. He certainly kind of finagled that aspect of the guruism into yeah. I mean, there was a lot of real love fest stuff happening, and yeah. I mean, so yeah, he just seems like it would be more of a comfortable thing with him, but also he's not wearing anything under that robe, so that's
definitely.
And probably not monogamous either, I would assume.
Nope,
I
definitely.
would assume that's out the door the minute you get with him.
Oh no, I mean, I think that's one of the bonuses.
At least with him, you definitely know it works.
Yeah,
he was arrested 36 times, Timothy Leary, and Nixon named him the most dangerous man in America.
That's fucking hilarious.
Simpler times.
Yeah, seriously. Didn't he escape prison once or twice?
He escaped prison once.
Once, okay.
Well, yeah, he had so he was, before the LSD stuff, he was a psychologist, and he was working within like prison reform stuff, and so like one of the questionnaires to judge how much of a threat a prisoner was, he had developed himself.
It's
They
fucking
gave
awesome.
him a questionnaire that he developed, so he knew how to answer it.
Yeah, so he basically had the personality type that they got from the questionnaire B, that he was mild-mannered, low escape threat, and loved botany or loved gardening. So he just escaped over the garden wall.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? So he had a number of indiscretions. He got kicked out of Harvard for taking drugs with his subjects and not teaching his class when he was working with Richard Alpert or Ram Dass. He got kicked out of West Point at one point because he was drinking and he wouldn't snitch on the people he was drinking with. And then he also got kicked out of University of Alabama for spending the night in a female dormitory. So I would say that Timothy Leary,
This dude's a badass.
he's kind of a virile badass, I would say.
Definitely, within academia, there is, and this is, a lot. There are academics that also feel this way, is that academia is a bit too safe, and there is much more kind of there are a lot of like there are these kind of wild madmenish like geniuses that have revolutionized fields that were like really controversial, and there's getting to be like less of those types out there because there's less of like being an eccentric character or whatever is more, there's more rigorous kind of testing, and much of like what is being measured by academia is just simply like conscientiousness. So you're getting these like OCD type people like play by the book and whatnot, and they're like kind of not taking. There's not enough divergent thinking and everything else, but Timothy Leary definitely went the other way with that,
to say the least.
I would say it was. I don't really fault Harvard necessarily for. I would say that his behavior was problematic, but,
to say the least.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
He's the tune in, plug out, whatever. Drop
tune in,
out.
turn in, drop out.
Drop out,
Turn
yeah.
on, drop out.
Yeah. I still am not totally sure what exactly all of that means. But
drugs, I think.
Yeah. The idea of like dropping out of society. I don't know. I think that was like. That's. I think when you're like a scientist who's been like a bit of like, you're in this strict environment, and now all this, you get to be like this hero to a bunch of like 19-year-olds and stuff like that. And he's just like, I think he was doing like the cool dad thing a little bit too much.
Instead of vodka, it was LSD though.
Yeah, exactly. He was definitely a silver fox. I did a deep dive looking for old pictures of him, and he always has the silver streaks in his hair. So I think that if you're into that, I mean, that's
Mr. Fantastic look, right?
Yeah, kind of like Mr. Fantastic. He's also Winona Ryder's godfather, which I did not know.
What was that, Shane?
The Beatles wrote a song.
Come Together.
Yeah, Come Together was about Timothy Leary.
No, they wrote it for Timothy Leary for his gubernatorial race against Reagan.
Oh yeah, written for him. Yeah. But that's like, I mean, you can see how. First off, as someone who's done a lot of psychedelics, doing psychedelics regularly can already make you kind of prone to manic ideas and some kind of messiah complexes. And then when the Beatles are literally writing songs for you, like I have a comic buddy named Zach Sherwin who's like fantastic, but no one's ever heard of him, and he wrote my theme song for my podcast, and I think that's pretty neat.
I love that theme song.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Why are we here? I love the way it sounds.
Mike Kaplan is in it as well, and I love the theme song, and I think it's really cool that I got to have people like make me a theme song and everything. But like, if Jack White was making my theme song, that shit might go to my head a little bit.
You get to walk over to Harvard and demand a doctoral like position or some shit.
Exactly. Okay, so what was I gonna say?
How many of these are there?
I've got three or four, depending on how long you want to go with it.
As I'm like measuring all the criteria in my head, I just want to know.
So there are a bunch of them out there that are like pretty mild mannered, and
but I could go for like a 15-minute deep dive on like any one of these people.
Right, exactly. There are a bunch out there that like aren't like they're great like and normal, but they're not super eccentric, so it like didn't really play well. Like Albert Hoffman, like he was just like a nice guy like in Switzerland, and he just took LSD by accident once, and then obviously synthesized it as well. But yeah, he just lived to 102. That was like the biggest thing on his Wikipedia page. But
yeah. And well, he did a lot of LSD too.
Oh, he did too. But what I'm saying is he never like broke out of jail or like
he was it's I don't like, you probably know as much about these guys as I do, having just done a little bit of internet research, because I actually don't do a lot of psychedelic research because some of the psychedelic writing out there just is not my cup of tea, and I don't like being influenced by it. But it is it is cool that the person that like discovered LSD and then did lots of it, like lived to be 102 and had like a very like regular, very productive, meaningful life. I think that's a testament to pure LSD.
Yeah, he seemed like a genuinely nice guy. It's funny because like all the Wikipedia pages, they'll have like a picture of them while they're old. Him and Sasha Shulgin, I think, have the most like genuine, kind faces out of all the bunch.
Yeah, and it's really important. If psychedelics teach you anything, it's definitely that it's important to judge people by their physical appearances.
Okay, so another one that I have here is John C. Lilly. Do you know about him?
Not really. I know the name.
So John C. Lilly, I nicknamed Buoyant Boy Too Weird, because he was the guy, he invented the isolation tank.
Oh, he's a dolphin dude.
Yeah, and he also liked to take drugs and hang out with dolphins.
Oh, yeah. I think that's why he's been swept under the rug a little.
He like really liked dolphins, right?
He
really liked dolphins.
Yeah, I'm not sure he would be into smooching me.
You got to put a blowhole in the top of your head, and then he'll try to telepathically talk to you from his isolation tank.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, hey, he might be right, but what is reality anyway?
So,
that's true.
For those who don't know the story of John C. Lilly, he was like very, obviously all these guys are very brilliant, but he was like getting funding from NASA to set up a lab to study dolphin language and try to teach dolphins to speak to humans through their blowholes. Apparently, Carl Sagan thought it was a great idea and said that this is how we would one day try to communicate with extraterrestrials. Okay. Like that would be the idea, to find an alien language.
We teach like we've taught gorillas sign language and that sort of thing.
Right, and eventually it kind of devolved into him. Well, for the dolphin stuff specifically, like giving dolphins LSD. Halfway submerging a home in water and then having a woman live with a dolphin for 10 weeks.
Yeah, the woman got really close with that dolphin.
Yes, the woman, Chris.
I'm sorry.
I know, it's the most important part of the story. The woman jerked off the dolphin. That's a thing that happened.
Yeah. Well, dolphins are really horny. And
yes, they are.
They're not terribly discriminate either. Like dolphins, they're actually pretty terribly rapey creatures.
Yes.
They're not the as mystical in their behavior as they're often. I mean, the dolphins are like portrayed like these sea unicorns or something like that, but they are super rapey, and not just like with sometimes end up like killing a female because they submerge her for too long while trying to rape her, but they also like screw like sea turtles and like species, which is very, very bizarre. It's unusual. Unusual for there aren't really species out there having intercourse with other species. So dolphins are really killing it in reality.
They're on the cutting edge.
Well, there's the one episode of Hank of the
King of the Hill.
Yeah, King of the Hill, where Hank gets humped by a dolphin.
Yep. Yeah, they'll do it to you. They'll get you. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I think that as far as dolphins go, I think we need to put them below sharks. So I think at this point we're saying Shane's up, Sean's down, sharks up, dolphins down. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're reaching the end of this topic here.
Yes, I think we should all choose who we want to smooch.
Have I swayed your opinion at all, Shane?
I'm gonna smooch Hoffman.
And have a wonderful long life with him.
I was thinking the exact same thing. He seems stable from what I understand.
Yep.
He can provide.
Yeah.
He can make you LSD anytime you want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm not so sure that I'm the biggest Leary fan out there, and then McKenna's got his own world going on too.
Well, I feel like with McKenna,
McKenna's like a real like gentle lover. I feel like he's real preoccupied with his own mind. I don't think he's like really paying attention to my needs.
Well, I think like Leary, that'd be a good time, not a long time.
That's true. You'd be with Leary once.
Yep.
McKenna, you'll see at a party once. I mean, I think that if you were married to Terrence McKenna, you might, like, one day, you got curlers in your hair, you come downstairs, you're like, Terrence, were you smoking DMT last night? And you say, no. So then why are there self-transforming machine elves on the couch? I'm going to go for Sasha Shulgin because he loved to fuck on drugs. That was, like, a huge part of his grading scale, was whether or not they were the drugs were erotic. He also synthesized, like, 250 novel compounds.
I didn't know he was in the mix.
He's also in the mix if you'd like.
Shulgin as well. I also I met his wife Ann Shulgin still alive and well at the ripe age of, I don't know, in her 90s. They seem pretty cool.
We didn't get to some of the details on him, but the nickname I gave him was the Cuddly Chemist because I think that he is genuinely like nice and lighthearted.
Yeah. Plus, he liked board games, and I'm into board games.
Nice. And on that note, we're moving on now to topic number 2. It's you.
So I don't know if this is too weird, or maybe you've done it before, but I've actually been, like, I was wondering if we could talk about kind of the philosophy of mundaneness itself, because I've been thinking a lot about boredom in general and what constitutes boredom. And I'll tell, and we don't have to talk about it if you're like, that's not a fit for our show, Shane.
Everything's a fit for our show.
Shane, that sounds awesome and incredibly deep, and I love it.
So, I mean, maybe we'll have an interesting conversation about the mundane, or maybe a mundane conversation about the mundane. But I've been thinking a lot about this lately because I kind of had some mental issues last year because I did too many psychedelics, and I've also I've broken feet like jumping off of things because I'm an adrenaline junkie, and I was just like always very rebellious and in trouble, and it's just as I get older I realized like the trouble that some of my risk taking has caused my life. And so I've just kind of been exploring my relationship with boredom itself lately, and kind of thinking about why I've been like so like scared of boredom or so adverse to boredom. And I've been thinking about how different things, everyone finds different things to be boring, and usually what is boring is like, it's so silly because it's usually like the best things for you.
Yep.
What like most people would consider boring. Like if I did a whole show, a tour, going around talking about like the therapeutic benefits, potential benefits of psychedelic drugs and everything. And the reality is like if I were to really, like, if I were to wave a magic wand and like do something to create some like habit or like create world change, and I could do it, it wouldn't be like give everyone mushrooms. It would be like, hey, maybe everyone should cut out sugar a little bit, and maybe like get some cardio 3 times a week, like watch the trans fats. And that's so fucking boring. Like, people don't want to hear it, you know? But people do want to hear about like crazy drugs or, you know, whatever else, or having it. And it's so interesting to me. I was like, I have this friend of mine that drinks like 3 like super big gulps a day, and he's like, he's gonna die from like,
oh yeah, sugar.
And I was like talking to him about like why he drinks it so much, because he like went through this thing about it. His name's Dave Waite. He's a really funny comic, and he went through this whole thing. He did this 1 year Dave, where each week he had the internet vote on like one thing that he would do, like try not drinking soda for a week or whatever, and like how it affected him. And he was like, when he did the soda one, he was like, oh, it's so boring, you know, I've got like just like drinking what. And I was thinking about it, I was like, well, is soda exciting?
Right.
Like, what?
Well, especially if you do it every day.
Yeah, it's
just an addiction. You're just fulfilling this thing. And like, I think that like organized sports are incredibly boring to me.
Agreed.
But most people, like, this is like what they live for. This is like their escape from their monotonous, like everyday job. Whereas most people, like my job is like reading science publications and that kind of shit. And most people, that's like a fucking nightmare to, like, that would seem so excruciatingly boring to them. And I get it. Like, science is boring to me when I was a kid too. So those are just the things of like how the brain is registering what is boring. So boring is like saying there is no value in this, or we already know it, or this is like redundant, or
right.
It's not applicable to my life in some way. And so how is the brain assessing that?
It's strange that the way you put that, because, you know, like what you're saying, that your friend that drinks all the soda, he doesn't want to drink water because that's boring, but the thing that he's hung up on is the soda that he has every single day. It's maybe the boredom. It's weird because like you can think the boredom comes from not being familiar with what you're experiencing, but at the same time, like I don't know. It's a strange way to look at it like that.
Well, here's something
I get that like a sugar rush
Yeah.
is kind of exciting.
That's
And I
exciting.
get it, you know, it's like I was a smoker for many, many years too. And like, if I were to have a cigarette right now,
Oof.
I would get like a pretty awesome buzz for like
Yeah.
15 minutes. But like that awesome buzz goes from just like a boring necessity, like real quick.
Yeah.
You know? And as I'm
vaping here.
to let me know that
See, that's why I've turned on the video.
shit. But yeah, and there's also like, as I get older, there is like this sense of security within the feeling of boredom.
Yes.
Like, you can't be nervous and bored at this.
That's true. That's very profound.
Like, if you're bored, that means that you like really got shit figured out in your life. I mean, or I mean, it might be the case that you're trying to distract yourself from all of your problems and the never-ending bills and whatever that horror is. And within trying to find the escape from that, the Netflix binge or whatever that you're going on is boring.
Mm-hmm.
But outside of that, so now like the fix that you're trying to get is boring. But if you're like bored with work, that probably means that you've like gained mastery over
Right.
that
Right.
job. Like no one's like, you know, when you get a new job and it's like really exciting and it can be fucking bagging groceries or whatever. Like I was at grocery and like learning to like, oh, you put the cans in this way and they can fit this many groceries and it's the right amount of weight and and like I'm learning these little tricks to be the best fucking bagger and I bet they're gonna move me up to cashier. And like a month later, you're like, fuck that job, and it's just and it's a fucking nightmare, and it's like this prison of monotony that you're in no time, and much of life is like that, and we have so much job hopping and everything else, and I don't know if that's factoring into, I don't know if that's like, you know, when we talk about people not having enough attention span or whatever else. I don't know if that's why there's so many job hopping things now, or
I'll say like definitely the attention span, my attention span at least, has dropped dramatically from when I was even younger, I think. And I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a kid. And now like I can't be content sitting in my apartment unless I'm playing a video game, watching a movie at the same time, and probably drinking too. Possibly I have some music playing in the background at the same time. I need all the stimulus like all at the same time. Otherwise I'm bored.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to be like that, and as I'm like taking better care of myself, that's getting to be less of the case. Like people don't want to hear that, and I know I certainly didn't either. But yeah, I mean, I've also been thinking about that ADHD because I'm definitely a person. I had an ADHD podcast recently, and I took the tests. I've just always known, like there was never any reason for me to take it. You could talk to any teacher, any family member, any friend, any girlfriend. They're like, oh,
Barber.
yeah. Like, he does not have the fucking attention. You know, it's hard to keep his attention. But it's also such a like egocentric thing, too. I was thinking about this as like because I'm a performer. So I spent my life being like, I don't want to listen to this fucking teacher or the priest in church or this or my parents telling me what to do. And now I'm a stand-up comic and I'm like, hey, everyone, listen to me. Don't your phone. Like, I need you should give your attention, your full undivided attention to me. And some of it's like so fucking egocentric too that it's like, oh, what your fucking lecture about Christopher Columbus was so enthralling that it's a dysfunction that this child has that to memorize this trivial fucking propaganda and like you never hear the opposite. Like no one is. There has to be. We evolve these spectrums of like kind of flexible psychological mechanisms, and without a doubt there are people that don't have, that are at the extreme end, that don't have a good enough attention span, that are walking into traffic, blah blah blah. But then there's people that are clearly like aren't able to think divergently enough or be creative enough, and are like OCD or whatever, and you don't hear that so much in school. No one is bringing like the parent-teacher conference like, your kid's listening to every word I'm saying. And, like,
he's way too fucking clean.
Yeah, it's like, well, what do you mean they're focused? Well, I'd say fixated. Like it's really an issue. Like who the fuck is never zoning out?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, I'm not even interested in what I'm saying half the time, and they're just sitting there, just sucking up every word that I'm saying, not thinking for themselves, and you never hear that side of it. I think it's like an authority-based bias, you know.
Well, yeah, because you want to get people to work. That's the idea, is that you want like
machine going,
right?
These cogs in the wheel. But now we're living in an era where it used to be that like we need a lot of people like, hey, you make this widget. It's always widgets. You grease the widget. You sell the widget. You know, there's all these different widget related jobs, and each person does like a very specific thing. And now it's the case that like robots are doing all of these monotonous, boring, mundane. Anything mundane is now automated.
Right.
And it is now the case that the only place for humans to find a role is kind of within this human interaction service industry, these one-on-one things where personal connections are valuable and important, and then within the creative fields and creativity, we don't even know what that is. So we don't even know if maybe computers are going to be able to like computers might be able to generate 14 Pixar films a day that are better than anything that Pixar is able to do now within the next 5 years.
That sounds like a Pixar movie. It's like it's a little computer that can't make a Pixar movie, and it's really cute and shit.
Yeah, like a little baby AI. And so I mean, I do think we are going to have to change our relationship with boredom. And I remember as a kid, it seemed like what adults did was so boring to me, but it was just never communicated to me the value of like sitting back on like a porch and like looking at the trees and like thinking about your inner world. Mm-hmm. And now our consciousness is being sucked off and pulled in every direction. Now you are playing a video game and listening to music and have the TV on and maybe fucking a sports channel on and like the news and like 8 different channels going at the same time. Yeah. And so I don't know. I've been like exploring like I've been trying to like become better friends with boredom. You know, boredom doesn't get you in trouble.
That's true.
That's very accurate, actually.
You know, one thing that I do that I think a lot of people find is boring, but I really enjoy is washing dishes. I find that.
Oh man, that's where I get like most of my material.
Exactly. It's a very like relaxing. You know exactly what's going to happen. I mean, you can't really like not pay attention enough that you're going to hurt yourself unless you like break a dish. And then in that case, maybe you came up with a really good idea. But yeah, no, I love washing dishes because I have a direct task in front of me. I can get it done. I know exactly what it looks like when it's done. That's one of my favorite things to do.
I like listen to a podcast, my headphones on, doing with dishes because I can't just be doing one fucking thing ever.
Yeah. But, yeah. Well, maybe. How old are you?
I'm 30. I just turned 30, actually.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it gets better with age in that regard, but it's also just like if you, I mean, our attention only has, so it's much of it's like blood flow to the prefrontal cortex and blah blah blah. So like if you are taking better care of yourself, then you have just more oxygen flowing through those brains. And make more difficult choices and have more self-control and all that shit that people don't want to hear.
A lot of it too is the work that I do during the day. I'm a operations engineer at a software company up here, and I'm pulled in 15 different directions all day long. So like to come home and just turn that off, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Because my head's going like a mile a minute all day long for 8 hours, and then I get home like, all right, I can't take a breath yet. I need to do 15 things right now, and then I'm good. Then I go to bed.
You're like a pooch, like a dog.
Yeah, that's actually...
You gotta put you in a fucking crate.
Just fucking spin around a little bit, and I'll be good.
Exactly.
I gotta start exercising again. It's really what it is. I haven't in like a couple weeks, but...
Shane, did you know that you were going to be a therapist to my brother today?
Yeah, I mean, I sometimes worry that I'm like going to destroy my comedy career by turning into some fucking weird life coach or something. No one needs another. We don't need another life coach in life. But that's exactly it. Like those, like, how is it that those boring things that we should do that like we all kind of know what's good for us and whatnot, but but it's like it seems so boring, and then you're like, so I don't want to do that because dare I do something boring, and it really limits us so much. I feel like.
Well, I think that like even from like an evolutionary perspective, obviously it's kind of like hijacked evolution at this point, where like drinking sugary soda is something that when you were starving, when it was feast and starvation situations, it wouldn't be a big deal if you ate a big meal, but now you can get it anytime you want. So your brain is tricking you into thinking you need it all the time.
Yeah. You rarely came across sugar, and if you came across some berries or whatever, that was a great week for you.
Party.
Yeah. So yeah. But I guess that's my subject is boring.
I really enjoy that we have you on the podcast and you're like, let's take the entire premise of your podcast, rip it apart, and analyze it from the inside. It's beautiful. Yeah. I love it.
That's how my mind works.
All right. And on that note, we're moving on now to topic number 3.
All right. I am topic 3 today. I want to talk about snake oil and stupid shit that people try to sell you to fix things in your life that don't fucking work. I'm a bald man, and
What?
I'm bald.
Oh yeah.
Yes, of course.
I thought that hat was just for style.
Yeah, no. I haven't shaved in a couple of days. It looks really gross right now. I've long given up on trying to grow my hair back. It's not a thing. So one of the things when I started losing my hair, my mom bought me like Rogaine or some shit like that, and I said thanks, Ma. But I read like some of the side effects for it, and like here's some of them: severe scalp irritation, unwanted growth of facial hair. So instead of growing on your fucking head, you grow it out of your face.
Yeah, you look like a wolf man.
Yeah, chest pains, swelling in your hands, feet, and rapid weight gain. Lightheadedness, just like you feel like shit because you're trying to grow hair out of your fucking head.
But you look good.
No, you don't, because like one of the things is like some of the hair that grows back might be like a baby's hair and may fall the fuck out. Anyways,
Well, who doesn't want the hair of a baby?
I'm all set.
You'd be soft. All the girls would be like, "Ooh, how old is he?"
So like that's just one example of like these types of products that are sold to people that feel desperate almost, and many times they're multi-level marketing schemes too, which is fucking hilarious, and just like they never work.
I wish I could recall the numbers off the top of my head, but I once saw the number. It's like a few $1 billion or something like that. Is how much Americans, just America, and Americans aren't the only ones falling for silly bullshit. But Americans spend like say $4 billion a year on phony diet supplements and gimmicks and that sort of thing that don't work at all. And then I looked up, and it turns out I looked up what the UN said it would cost to feed all of the starving people in the world.
Jesus Christ.
That amount of money. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to at least people are like, at least when people fall for shit like that, it feels like at least people have the right intention and they're trying to better themselves. But I drink a lot of kombucha.
Well, kombucha's delicious, man.
I know it is delicious, but I'm not sure that I'm not sure these probiotics are turning me into some immortal.
Well, you haven't died yet.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, that's true. I would think that if anything, it's probably just a new way in which a much too sugary beverage has been marketed in some healthy way.
Yeah, they got you.
Oh, it's like the vitamin water.
Oh yeah, when vitamin water hit the scene, I was chucking those, and then I realized that there was 34 grams of sugar in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So some of the other stuff I found online. So okay, so outside of like like weight loss stuff and hair regrowth stuff, what do you think would be like the number one thing that's like a shill type of pill that you see?
Dick pills.
Yes, dick pills.
Oh yeah, right.
So I searched up last night in an incognito tab. So I don't want people seeing my list. Yeah, I don't want to get on a list, and I don't want anybody seeing my history. I searched up dick pills, just dick pills, and the first thing popped up were Ron Jeremy dick pills.
Oh yeah, his works. There's video evidence.
There's a picture like on the site of him going like this. I'm holding my two hands up very very wide across.
Yeah. About one Ron Jeremy's dick size.
But like some of the names of like the supplements, or I guess these pills, this snake oil, is they all have X's in them. It's like extreme size or like
because the 90s
like
were
that.
very influential, and X's and Z's in words are very powerful.
Relax eyes or some shit like that. I can't even fucking say these, but like all of them are like some of the descriptions of them. They talk about other pills and how you shouldn't use those other pills, and some of the reasons why are like vaguely racist too. They have compounds from islands was one of the reasons why you shouldn't use other pills.
Sweet.
Yeah. But yeah, so like, another one was for one of the taglines from the pills was, "Do you want a Ferrari or a Yugo?" That's a pretty outdated
Hugo, like the
Yugo, the
Russian car?
Yeah, the little tiny cars.
Or the East German car, I guess.
I think they're East German, the little ones.
Yeah, I think they're East German.
But yeah, so it's like stuff like that, and the advertisement for them they're so grotesque. And
oh yeah, they usually just look like two bags of muscles fucking each other. Generally, I saw one at a bodega, and it was like, I guess it was like some kind of like help you not nut pill.
Help you not nut?
Listen, they're on theirs. It said climax control, and then right underneath that it said cream control. I was like, all right, that's what I want.
That's a way to put it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would think that, and I don't know this, but I would think that just a general like something that would be like a anti-anxiety something or other would probably help, because most of sexual dysfunction is stress related.
Oh yeah.
The dick's a funny thing, and the
hot take from Shane Mauss. The dick's a funny thing.
It's hard to have an erection in a stressed situation, because stress is meant to delegate your energy to like running away from a threat. And so if you're being threatened at the moment, it's not a good time to procreate. And but at the same time, so being relaxed helps get an erection. But at the same time, ejaculating itself is a acute stress response. So like you work your way. So if you're an exceptionally stressed person, you're going to have trouble getting it up in the first place. But then when you do get it up, you're also going to come too early. So that's a double doozy. So if you are worried about your dick smithery, whatever they're calling it these days.
Swagger maybe? I don't know.
Your dick swagger?
I would say that like just a general kind of integrating some meditation into your life would be just as good of a fix as any supplement ever could be.
But you can't sell meditation.
You can't sell that at a bodega.
I mean, it's actually, now that I'm thinking about it, there could be like some dick-based meditation like app that we could.
Dude,
that's $1 million idea right there, baby.
It actually is a pretty fucking good idea. Because it's so hard to get dudes to care about any kind of wellness, like anything this and that. But anything dick related is such a like. You know, I've been kind of a proponent for psychedelic advocacy, not even as much as you would think, considering I did a whole tour and a documentary about it. But I'm actually much more interested in, say, like evolutionary psychology and things like that. But the funny thing is like people are like, you say, oh, you have this reset and you can build these new habits, or you kind of are able to explore past trauma in this kind of loving way and make amends in relationships and find closure in your life, and it's helpful with PTSD, and people are just kind of like, yeah, whatever. But they're like, well, I hear you can go crazy though. Well, gee, if you go crazy. But if you were to tell people that like LSD could add 1/4 of an inch on the penis, like every dude would be doing LSD. It'd be like, even if you're like, well, now be careful, you can go crazy. Guys will be like, well, I'm gonna go crazy if I don't add 1/4 inch on. It's like that's what's crazy. Like, well, this one guy went really crazy, and else, oh, so one guy goes crazy. 1/4 inch onto my penis, but they like. You might be like a healthier person and like have better social skills and that sort of thing. Like people just don't fucking want to hear it. So yeah, a dick-based meditation app I think is the best way to market meditation to a really underserved population of meatheads that need it the most.
What do we call it? What do we call it? Dick center, dick eye, third dick eye.
I think it's just like head expansion or something.
Mushroom head expansion.
Expander app.
What was that? Sorry, you bring it up.
Yeah, just like the head expander app.
Oh yeah, with no vowels, expander.
Oh yeah. A bunch of X's, like 3 fucking X's.
No, you're going too dick pill with it. We got to go meditation.
Well, no, we're trying to replace. We're trying
Namaste.
to
head spans or something like that.
We're trying to replace dick pills, so we got to use the same marketing ploys they use.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like, if yoga was just for, the Saturday Night Live, or like sucking your own D or whatever, doga or whatever, like that would be. That would be a marketable thing. I mean, this is going to be a challenge in the human condition, which is like there's these easy routes in life and these default modes, which is kind of eat a bunch of sugar, buy a bunch of shit, eat a bunch of do what's quick, do what's easy. And then our consciousness justifies all of it as like, I'm tough, I can take it, and I can like drink the most or whatever, and trying to figure out a way to get the most closed-minded people on board with taking care of themselves is going to take some real like clever and just kind of marketing.
Yeah, you got to trick them. Okay, so another snake oil one, Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop.
Yeah,
site.
I got some examples for that.
Have you heard about this, Shane?
No. Was it some like? So that's the other end of the snake oil stuff. Is there's so much new agey horse shit out there. As I'm ragging on like meatheads. So this is a real problem within the psychedelic community. There's a lot of like not just like supplements out there, but like energy healers. That's a great business to be in. There's like zero overhead, you your hands around.
Oh, so they actually just wave their hands around people. That's
you need a table for that though. That's the big expense.
Mine is like actually better on the floor. The energy is better on just like a floor.
That's
and your floor at the apartment that you rent, zero overhead.
I'll come to you. Don't worry.
Yeah. It's the way placebos work is that often like the harder they are and the more intrusive they are and the more uncomfortable they are, it makes your brain feel as if you like your brain goes, well, I didn't do all that for nothing. So if you like really put people in this very uncomfortable position, like laying on a hard floor or something as you move their energy, or like maybe make them do a headstand or something like that. It really makes them. That's probably why like these inversion tables and stuff are are taking off. Now you have an inversion table in your head, and it moves the blood flow around your body, and this and that. And it's like, well, if you've ever been in an inversion table, as soon as you flip upside down, you like feel like an idiot, and then you go, well, this must be doing something for me, because I wouldn't be like doing this stupid original Batman movie horse shit. So what's the Gwyneth Paltrow thing? I get real. I feel real blabbermouth tonight.
That's good. It's good for
the
podcast.
cast, man.
So she has like this website called Goop, and it's all new agey supplement stuff and clothes as well. And it's all super expensive. One of the biggest things right now is I think she just settled a lawsuit.
Yeah, I got that.
$150,000 was what she paid for this vaginal jade egg. It was a jade egg, an egg made out of stone that you insert into your vagina.
Your vagina?
I'm sorry. I was reading the word that she puts. She calls it your yoni. And then it was supposed to regulate your pH and your hormones.
I mean, as long as she trademarked the word yoni, I'm sure that $150,000 for her yoni rock is no big deal.
So I grabbed some of the supplements off of so if you go to their site, there's a tab that says wellness. So I'm like, that's where I gotta go. I get well. So I clicked on that, and there's just supplements that cost $70 for one shipment. But it's $90 for one shipment. And if you sign up for a monthly subscription, it's $70 a month, which is fucking ridiculous. But some of the names are why am I feeling so effing tired? Which I looked at the ingredients; these are all just multivitamins. That's all they are. Balls in the air is another one. And
wait, what?
Balls in the air.
What is that?
I think maybe like the balls in the air, like in the sports games.
Oh, I thought okay, not testicles. Sorry, I'm just thinking about yoni eggs.
It's all about the yoni. And then the Motherload high school jeans. It's like
I'm using a yoni egg right now, actually. Or should I say wearing? Is that?
I think it'd be wearing. Yeah. The question is, how do you get it out if it's just an egg? I mean, I guess you just lay it.
The second part of exercise.
Oh, right.
Big part of the conditioning. Yeah. So, I mean, anyone can get it up there.
Yeah. Well, you got to take the class to get it out. And the class, that's on a subscription basis, too.
Yeah, we'll send you the egg for free. It's $100 for the instructional video. How to get it out.
Jesus Christ.
One of the other products they have on there is wellness stickers that are designed by NASA.
Yeah, okay.
They're stickers with like pyramids and like all-seeing eyes and shit on them.
Illuminati.
But they're just like, they said that they're supposed to like rebalance your energy frequency. And they said they're made of the same conductive carbon mesh that's in spacesuits. And then NASA responded and said, we don't have a conductive carbon mesh in our spacesuits, and your stickers don't do anything. I just want to have a company.
Yeah, we had our top NASA scientists look at your stickers, and after rigorous testing, it looks like the stickers don't do anything.
After the NASA letter, it'd be funny if they just put out a letter that's like, we meant Nancy, not NASA. Nancy's our scientist.
Shit.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like a lot of life is about like finding the placebo that works for you, because who knows like what half of the shit is. But no, you're better off just like creating some stupid mantra in your head or something like that you tell yourself each day, and tell yourself that repeating this mantra is gonna like make your life better, or your
dick bigger.
Your person or your dick bigger or whatever, and it's probably going to be much better for you than any egg that you're gonna put up your nose or in whatever orifice. And nose eggs, though, actually, now that I think about it,
we could pair it with the dick app.
With a yoni egg, is that no one knows that you're wearing the yoni egg, so
right.
they don't like see it. They don't,
Okay.
There's no status associated with it.
Yeah, my bony egg. Can't believe what we're gonna call a nose. We're gonna work on our new cute name for a nose, but she is good at cute names for holes. We'll give her that.
Every orifice needs its own nickname now.
Does, but with my fluffle egg, everyone will know that you're the first one in your town to be wearing your fluffle, and it's going to improve the way that you smell things, and it's gonna grab people's attention, like. People, it's a conversation starter. People are gonna be like,
What the fuck's up your nose?
Did someone punch you or?
No, it's my fluffle egg. Get it on.
A fluffle egg, and that's going to be a whole thing to explain. And now you're the most interesting person in the room.
$29.99.
And then you have a pocket of them. You sell them, and then we sell them to those people at wholesale prices. And then we get a cut of their sales.
Mm-hmm. Multi-level.
And then it's kind of like a pointy
triangle.
No, it's more of a square, but it's pointed at the top.
Oh, okay.
And we're making all the money at the top.
Definitely not a pyramid, though,
No,
right?
No.
Okay.
That would be illegal.
That's true.
You got your camera pointed at the ceiling fan again. I'm getting hypnotized. Yeah. So I mean, this is yeah. It's snake oil. It's a thing.
Oh yeah.
Keep it basic, people. I'm sure that there's like some pretty normal, regular old diet and exercise guidelines that any doctor would be happy to get, and if you follow, you'll have a better life.
But it'd be more mundane, Shane.
Mundane. Shane the Mundane. That's my guru name.
Hell
Shane
yeah.
the Mundane.
You can sit
Just exercise and meditate.
Yeah. And instead of being on a very tall mountain, you're just on a reasonably hill, just a normal hill.
Yeah, it's like, why is it got to be so, like Tony Robbins, I'm sure he has like plenty of good habits in his life. He might also just be a fucking psychopath with a limitless energy because something went wrong in his brain and he's like this monster of a mutant creature and thinks everyone else can be like him. But why like the burning the feet thing? Like he gets in so much trouble because like it's exciting, you know, people, you have the hot coals and then he's like, and then you get to give a big speech of like mind over matter. And then you walk and you get and like he gets sued by multiple people a year because they burn their fucking feet. And he's just, I don't know if he just operates off the smell of people's burnt feet or what. Like,
that's the secret.
Walk across these hot coals and you get to the cross and say you don't have 3rd-degree burns. Like, okay, you just walked across fucking hot coals. Whoop-de-fucking-do. When I was 6, I used to swipe my hand over my fucking birthday candles. Like, okay, like people just need this element of fucking excitement in their lives, and it usually makes you look fucking foolish. And I'm not saying this like saying people are idiots for doing this. I'm saying I've been doing this for much of my life, and that is why I have repurposed my brand as Mundane Shane. Only thing excited about me is my fluffle egg. For $39.99 right now. If you go to ShaneMauss.com, it is $400 for the device that gets it out of your nose. But you order right now, you get a second one free. A lot of full eggs, they only give you one nostril.
I love it.
Shit.
All right. All right, we're gonna wrap it on up. Shane,
Shane, thanks for coming
you
on,
so
man.
much for coming on.
Seriously, dude.
Absolutely.
if you are in the areas that Shane will be doing his stand-up science show, please go see him.
Yeah.
Make it a big old thing so Shane can
And-
keep doing it.
This is actually a test run too. I'm seeing if this is like actually, quite frankly, economically viable for me to do this if there's enough interest. Because otherwise, I just work comedy clubs and get a standard, But so even if you don't live in any of those cities, if you know people in them, for every city that packs out, I'm going to rebook the city and make it a quarterly show. But I'm also going to expand and do it in a different city and with the hopes of taking it nationwide. So if these first 8 shows go well, then there will be a nationwide tour launched in February of next year, and I already have a lot of the venues kind of penciled in. So hopefully this goes really well in Madison, Minneapolis, Chicago, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Portland, Seattle, Tacoma, and then Washington D.C. next year. So yeah. Go to ShaneMauss.com and check out those dates. And check out my podcast, Here We Are, where I interview different scientists each week about the inner workings of the mind.
Learn something, you fools.
Yeah, Shane, thanks again for being on. Folks, if you're listening, thanks for listening. Be nice to each other and shit.
Be nice and learn something.